Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today, we're being joined by Emily Ann Peterson, author of Bare Naked Bravery. Emily, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
I am. Hit me.
So tell us your subtitle, because I know I botched it initially, which is why we did a second take. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that subtitle?
Yeah, so I wrote the best-selling book on Amazon, Bare Naked Bravery, How to Be Creatively Courageous.
All right, excellent. So we'll go ahead and start with the first question, and that is, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Well, I have many pieces of advice, but the best one I think that will help, especially if you are wanting to sell more books, is to start writing your book from a marketing strategy. I think there's a lot of first-time authors who they start writing the book and then they do the marketing, and that's backwards. When I've worked with other first-time authors before, and they're already like a little bit of the way into their book, a lot of times it ends up being a lot harder for them to either sell the book that they were working on at that moment, or they need to go back and kind of go back to the drawing board in order to make that book more marketable for people who are actually looking for advice or wisdom, or to fix a problem that they have or meet a need that they have by searching for something on Amazon.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Well, when you're self-published, it's not hard at all, because then you just do it because you want to. I am a very huge advocate of self-publishing. I think that, I'm also a songwriter, and in the songwriting world and in the music industry, the independent musicians are the ones that are holding all the chips right now. And I think that that's very much the case in the publishing world as well. So I think that if you think it's hard getting published, that you should definitely look at doing self-publishing if you haven't yet.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
Yeah, this is also partly from the music industry as well. We have street teams in the music industry. So street teams are basically like groups of fans who are like your biggest fan, who love what you do and really just want to support what you do regardless of the outcome. And when I did my book launch, I had about 100 to 150 or so people who had committed to helping spread the word to their friends and their family about like the big day and sharing on Twitter and social media and all that kind of stuff. So I would say, even if you don't have 100 or 150 people on a launch team or on a street team like that, like just 10 people know 10 other people, and that's 100 people right there. So getting your launch team in order is going to be really, really, really helpful.
And then what strategies did you have in terms of recruiting those people, and different strategies that you used to engage with them throughout the process?
Throughout the process of what? The
launch? Yes, the launch.
Well, so there's different phases of the launch, at least when I do a launch. And it also depends on how well you know that person. So I have different levels of a launch team, and so sometimes it's just personal people, like people that I know that are in my phone, and I have them on in a spreadsheet, and I'm like, check off, did I text this person today? And they're on my launch team in that manner, just because they're close friends. But I also have an email list, and I also have a Facebook group of fans as well. So there's different. It depends on your audience, but I would say, like, as long as you take a step back and look at like who your launch team is and who your launch team is comprised of, then you understand better how to communicate with them, and they will, because you're communicating well with them, then they are more willing to follow the directions that you're giving them, like clicking on a link or leaving a review for something or whatever.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know, what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
Yeah, so I actually, I founded the School of Bravery, and right now we are all going through The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron together, it's a 12-week workbook on creativity, and it is absolutely life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. I've gone through it like 5 or 6 times, and led several groups through it. The number one thing that I've learned from that book, from Julia Cameron, I would have to say it's such a dense book. I would have to say that it is that when you are tapping into your creativity, it's really important that you do that on a regular basis, because the stress and trauma and busyness of life can really cause you to like numb your sensitivity to your own access to creativity. And by just being connected to your creativity on a daily basis, that really helps alleviate that issue.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Oh my goodness. Wow. I would love anything by Maya Angelou. She's just a beautiful voice and brave voice. We need to hear more of her. So anything by her. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Emily, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show today. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Yeah, if you're curious about talking about your book project or any of the feats of bravery that you're going through, you can go to schoolofbravery.com/boost. And you can connect with me in that way. And I'd be happy to chat with anybody. It'd be fun to talk about bravery and connect with anyone about their creative career and move forward, and how they can step up and speak out and get visible and all those good things.
Well, Emily, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
You too. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.